Tuesday at 5:20. He is Evan Money, best-selling author and part owner of the Green Bay Packers. We'll talk Jonathan Vilma versus the NFL, Roger Goodell, the AFC South, and also, if we have time, a little bit of TO. Evan Money joining us every Tuesday right here with Miller on Sports.
Go on, take the money and run. Go on, take the money and run.
He is Evan Money joining us, always full of excitement and vigor right here on Miller on Sports on the First Coast. Check us out, 1600thebeach.com. Evan, how are you?
Yeah, just doing okay, Richard. Of course, I'm doing fantastic, my friend.
I should have known that. Do you ever take naps?
No, but my wife does to keep up with me.
That sounds about right. So give us an update. California, how beautiful is it right now?
Oh, it is beautiful, my friend. We're at about 80 degrees and zero humidity, so it is just picture perfect, my friend.
You are just living the life. And my producer told me that you are ready for Miller on Sports like you are every Tuesday at 5:20. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. But let's get into it because I got T.O. stuff, so I don't want to leave T.O. hanging.
Okay.
So fire away,
we will not leave T.O. out. I promise you that. Do you think the NFL is trying to strike a deal with Jonathan Vilma? Because we saw yesterday a lot of varying reports to that.
Well, here's how you know that they're striking a deal with him, because they're denying it. But it's the way they're denying it, Richard. It's in that typical lawyer-type response. And people are like, well, why would the NFL do that? Why would they lie? Why do they deny? And the quick reason is because if they admit to it, then they give Vilma even more leverage than he already has.
Yeah, very, very interesting. But do you think this is, because I'm thinking this is trying to protect the image of the NFL and Roger Goodell?
Well, it's not only protecting the image, it's protecting, behind the curtain, because for all your attorneys listening in legal speak, I hope I won't get too many calls on this, but the bottom line is if it actually goes to court, then, Roger Goodell has to eventually get on the stand, but before that he has to do a deposition with another attorney, and he has to reveal how they came to the conclusion, and he has to, air out this alleged evidence that there is. And so, again, this is from the old movie A Few Good Men. This is a classic moment. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And so Roger Goodell knows that there was some kind of bounty thing going on. And as we talked about in previous shows, this bounty thing has got so blown out of proportion. So, yes, there was a bounty, but it's not to the degree that we're led to believe. I mean, it's football talk. It's just like in the MMA, You see all these fighters go, yeah, I want to knock the guy out. Of course he wants to knock him out. He doesn't want to brain damage him, doesn't want to hurt him, doesn't want to end his career. He just wants to knock him out. And so I think this Saints thing got totally blown out of proportion. Now the players are going, hey, well, if my reputation is going to be suffered, then, you know what, where is the evidence? And so now Goodell's, you're going to find a last-minute deal, and everyone's going to come out like I mentioned 4 or 5 shows ago. All they had to do was shake hands and go, this will never happen again, we're sorry, but it looks like they're going to be doing that anyway and get egg on their face.
Evan, I was wondering, it was either you were watching movies or either court TV, because you were really coming at me with the legalese.
Well, as you know, California is the most litigious state.
I did not know that. That is a good stat right there. Evan Money joining us, best-selling author and a part owner of the Green Bay Packers, joining us every Tuesday at 5:20. Evan, every preview I've read for the AFC South recently, it's been the Houston Texans. They are winning the division. They're the obvious favorite. But how deep can that team get in the playoffs?
Well, let's look at it team by team first. So let's start with the Jaguars.
Okay.
And that was Larry was supposed to film the laugh track there. So we'll just go ahead and skip that. Okay. So let's look at the Colts. Now, the Colts, I could see them going either way. A lot of people say, they're going to be right where they were last year. I could legitimately see them easily at 9-7, maybe if everything goes right at 10-6. But I see them right there at 9-7, and depending where Houston is, I think they'll be right behind them. The Titans, You got Hasselbeck, which is, obviously, I think Hasselbeck should have retired a couple of years ago. Still a great quarterback. And then, you got the kid right behind him from Washington, but I don't think Locker's the answer. So I give the Titans 8 at best. So really what's going to happen is it's the Texans it's handed it to them on a silver platter, but what's really going to be the deal is they're going to win the division, they're going to go to the playoffs, and we're going to find out what Kubiak is made of as a coach, because right now it's pretty much conference championship or Super Bowl or bust, because there's no other direction that they can go.
Evan Money joining us right here with Miller on Sports and 1600 The Beach. Are you sold that Matt Schaub takes him far, if healthy?
Well, who cares? They got T.J. Yates, Richard.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, Tebow kind of overshadowed all the playoff stuff, and I mean, it was such a great play, and it was a classic overtime moment. And I'm not downplaying that because I'm a Tebow fan, but this T.J. Yates kid, he's not a fluke. I mean, how many third-string quarterbacks in the modern-day NFL can win a playoff game? I mean, this kid looked like he's been there before. It was unbelievable. And again, because of all the Tebow mania, people forget. So what the Texans are hoping for right now is that they can keep him around for maybe 1 or 2 more years and kind of make him just like Aaron Rodgers, who's going to just take the reins from Shaw. Because the way, again, we all know how the human body works. It just goes kind of like on a cliff. You just all of a sudden, and you drop off and production drops off. So I think they're trying to time it just right where Schaub's out and Yates comes in. But either way, they're set.
Are you saying that Yates is the next Aaron Rodgers? Am I hearing you correctly?
Absolutely. Again, just look at what he's done. I mean, first of all, people don't understand. The third-string quarterback is the best job in the NFL. You don't go to all the meetings. You get to go home early. It's like, you're never going to play. And to see a kid who's third-string, knowing he's never going to play, all of a sudden thrust into that situation and playing at the level he did, I mean, just imagine if he's getting the first-team reps.
Evan, we did not have the laugh track for you. You left out the Jaguars record. May I ask, what is that record?
It doesn't even matter. It really doesn't matter. Everyone knows the Jags aren't going to the playoffs. Everyone knows the Jags aren't doing anything. I would say, for the Vegas guys out there, I'd say 100-1 they even win 5 games.
Very interesting. I'm sure Evan is making lots of friends on this Tuesday afternoon on the First Coast in Jacksonville, Florida.
I'm just sounding like it is.
Evan, I left plenty of time so we can get to T.O. He signed a deal yesterday with the Seattle Seahawks. How many games into the season before he just kind of gives up on the team?
Well, first of all, I made this bold prediction last week, and nobody batted an eye, so now it's I told you so. But the first thing your listeners need to understand about T.O. is that this whole CBA and this whole union thing has really hurt his career, because right now with the new CBA, the minimum that you can pay T.O., because he has over 10 years in the league, is $910,000. So most of these, there were other teams that were interested in T.O., but they weren't interested in paying $1 million for T.O. So T.O. right now actually is in a really, really good place, Richard. I mean, he's been humbled, okay? He's broke. He's been on Jerry Springer and some of the other talk shows, and he gets it. He understands, hey, I'm not the number one receiver anymore. Hey, you know what? I'm getting $1 million to play 10 or 15 snaps tops and mentor some of these other receivers, on, how to play the football game and also what not to do in life.
Right.
And so what T.O. also needs to do, I think, is he needs to earmark some of that salary, although the court's going to take most of it, needs to earmark some of that salary for Mike Williams, because the whole Mike Williams project that turned out pretty good for the Seahawks was the card, for Pete Carroll that said, hey, it worked out okay with Mike. This T.O. thing might work. So, Pete's rolling the dice with T.O., and I think it's going to pay off.
And that's a team that we talked about with Seattle, that they are right there in making the playoffs, but not only doing that, making a decent run.
Yeah, I saw a little thing online. I think the huddle is going to be the most interesting. You got Braylon Edwards, who's kind of T.O.-ish at the same time. You've got T.O., and then you've got another ball-hawking kid in there who's always crying for the ball. I think their new tight end. So Flint's going to have his hands full, because it's not the camaraderie that he used to have at Green Bay. At at Green Bay, he had seasoned wide receivers, guys who understood. You didn't have guys squawking and crying for the ball. Although I think T.O.'s done with that. I think T.O. is going to do his job. I think he's going to produce just like he did in Cincinnati and Buffalo. And I think he's actually going to help this team. And what T.O. has going for him is that everybody's watching Tebow. Nobody's all over T.O. anymore, so he can just relax and play football.
That is a good point. I also like how you say Flynn and not Jackson.
Well, you're not paying a guy $19 million to be a starter, and there's a reason that Matt Flynn's starting the preseason game coming up this week, and Tavares is out. That kid from Wisconsin is third string, better than Tavares ever was. So I think Tavares either needs to hang it up, or maybe T.O. can give him some tips and he can go to the Arena Football League.
Evan Money, best-selling author and part owner of the Green Bay Packers. Evan, it's a pleasure. We'll talk again real soon.
Richard Miller, always appreciate it, sir.